This is Diana Ivanov with Keller Williams Village Square. So today we're talking to Tina Venturini at Cafe Amici, South Brunswick, for our video series, My Hometown, Your Hometown. So my inspiration for calling Tina and for setting up this interview was I have been looking at your site on Instagram forever. And you make me starving at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm looking at what you're putting out there for today or what you served yesterday, and then I can't stop thinking about the food all day. So we've been kind of having a little thing back and forth on Instagram, and we set up a call to see if we wanted to do this. And classic Diana, as we're talking, I find you're not Cafe Amici in Wyckoff, you're Cafe Amici in South Brunswick, which is just, something totally that I would do. And however, when we started talking, I just love what you guys are doing in the community. I love what you're doing in the business. And I was very inspired. And as luck would have it, we have a team in the Ocean County, Monmouth County area, and we had 3 photo shoots yesterday in Toms River, which was 30 minutes from where you were. So I stopped by and I met your husband yesterday and your team there. And I ordered salad, bruschetta salad, an amazing pizza, brigade burnt, which is how I like it, and a veggie burger, which was so good. I mean, I cannot tell you how good it was. So I think it was serendipity that we decided to start talking, and we would love to talk about what you're doing in the community and what your restaurant looks like now and going forward.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for inviting me on. And I do also think it was very serendipitous the way that we met. And it was kind of by mistake. So it's been, pretty cool and pretty interesting. But if I can just start talking about what we're doing right now. Right now, our real focus is trying to help the families of the graduating class of 2020. We really have had to shift our business model, how we're doing business and how we're feeding our community. And we know that we're not going to have graduation parties in the typical sense, but our main focus is making sure that these graduates are celebrated and honored in a way that's meaningful and purposeful to them and their families. So that's what we've been working on now. And I can talk about what we've been doing in our community all along through the COVID-19 crisis, how we've had to change, how we've had to adapt, and how we've really partnered with South Brunswick and all the bordering towns, because we're kind of like in an interesting location in that we border like 6 towns. We're in like the center of the star of a bunch of different towns. So we've really worked closely with our community to help just feed families, and that's what our goal has been.
Well, I know you're a staple in the community. You have 3 spots right in that location. When I drove there yesterday, first of all, it's beautiful. The drive was great, and you have catering, the pizza, and what's the third?
We have a pizzeria. We have an informal dining room in the middle, and then we have a formal dining room and banquet area.
So it was very, very impressive. Great spot, easy to get to. So I love that you're doing that with the graduate. We're actually doing a series with a gentleman who's a sports, I don't want to say incorrectly, but we're doing a series going forward on helping graduates. Like, what's the first thing you want to do after graduating? So the fact that we all have that same concept in our mind and that same goal to help these families and these kids to realize that this is one moment in time. We love you. We're still going to celebrate you. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I know you've done, you're not going to toot your own horn, I know that, but you've done so many other things in the community. That's what made me start looking at your site. And then of course I started looking at the food, and then it was a relationship. So what can we do to going forward to send business your way, to share what's going on? Besides the graduates, I know you guys are going to start opening up whatever the new version looks like. What does that look like to you right now?
I didn't catch what your question was.
So I know going forward, so we're all working from home too. Yeah, you have a baby. I have construction behind me.
Yeah.
And anybody listening to this probably has the same thing, and somebody hanging off their head. So Don't worry about it. Going forward, I know we have a bunch of business in Long Beach Island, and we have a lot of clients who have restaurants and who own vacation property. So we're all kind of like waiting to see what's the next thing. Is it going to be limited seating? Is it going to be, and I think you and I spoke about that. What does that look for? I know the people in your community right there love your food. I came out of my way to have it and I loved it. So people who live there, that's where they're calling on a Thursday night, you know, when they have friends over for drinks or they have, you know, pizza or whatever. So what are you guys doing going forward so that you can, I think you're going to have, you know, like spatial seating and stuff?
Yeah, we will have reduced capacity. So our formal dining room and banquet area usually can fit close to 100 people, and we're thinking that it's going to be probably somewhere near half of that. Our informal dining room is the same thing. We're going to probably cut it in half. And we have seating in the pizzeria where we'll be following the restrictions and recommendations of the CDC and our local Board of Health. So we know moving forward, we are prepared to have reduced capacity in every sense. And we're also following the restrictions and guidelines of our Board of Health and CDC in terms of preparing food. We talked a little bit about how restaurants really are used to kind of spot check all the time. And we're used to having people coming in and saying, are you doing this, this, and this? Is this hygienic? And how have you been preparing this food? So for other businesses, I know for some other businesses who aren't necessarily so accustomed to these sort of really rigid restrictions, it might be difficult. But for food service, we've kind of become accustomed to having to do certain things in a certain way to meet certain guidelines. So it's just a little bit ramped up, but it's also still what we are used to. So we're used to preparing food in a certain way for our community that is safe. And that's what we're going to continue doing, just with these kind of more rigid guidelines.
I love it.
Yeah.
I was in a restaurant, my family, I grew up in a restaurant business. And when you said that, it rang so true. That is how you got to be ready on a Wednesday for somebody to stop by in the middle of a rush, or Saturday night, that they're going to check, and you have to be compliant. So you guys are already doing that. I was there yesterday. The place is spotless. And I think the fact that you have the 3 locations there with all that extra space is going to be such a boom. The food's great, but I can actually come and hang out there and not be waiting, you know, maybe not waiting on a long line because you've got those 3 spots. I think that's going to be a great thing. I think that's going to work out for your community. And I hope there is still a line, but I think that's a good thing. So we'll wrap this up. I just is there anything else you want to say to the community, or anything else that you want to share with us about your beautiful restaurant?
You know, really, we should thank the residents of the several bordering towns. So we're in South Brunswick, but we border North Brunswick, East Brunswick, Monroe Township, Jamesburg, Helmetta, and Spotswood. And everybody in those towns have made it possible for us to do what initially got us a lot of attention, which was feeding the front line. So we were able to send food to hospitals and medical centers as far north as Fully Named Medical Center in Teaneck, and as far south as Jersey Shore Medical Center in Neptune. So we were all over the state because the residents of those towns were supporting us by some of them volunteering their time. We had some community members who were willing to meet our contact people halfway, or we had this one guy who drove to Teaneck from our location, which, you know, it was over an hour, just volunteering his time. And then of course we had so many people who were able to contribute to feed the front lines to us, and we donated to every order. But you know, it was the community who paid for that food, and it was the community who got together and organized and collaborated with us to make that happen. And I think that at the start of this, that's what really got us a lot of that attention on Instagram and online, because we were posting nonstop, and then it allowed us to start to find individuals on the front lines who had stories that really touched our hearts. So there were 2 brides, for example. They were both nurses. One was in the OR at Monmouth Medical, and another one was a nurse at Robert Wood, and both of their weddings were canceled due to the COVID crisis. So we sent them bridal bouquets, we sent them wedding gifts from Cafe Amici, and then we sent food for the entire floor from us in the community. Every single meal that we sent out to the front lines was accompanied by letters written by students who were learning from home. It was really important for us not to just send out food. We saw a lot of people sending out food and we thought that that was great, but we wanted to, especially after talking with a lot of my friends who were nurses and doctors, we were like, we need to feed them, not just physically, like mentally and emotionally, because this was a taxing and a thing that was taking a toll on people. So we sent letters of gratitude with every meal that went to hospitals and medical centers. We sent food to COVID-19 testing centers. And we even had people reaching out to us with stories eventually of where they felt there was a need. And we were trying to meet every need that came our way. So we sent food to families in our community, frontline families and families where someone had tested positive and was sick at home. So we did, of course, very safely do that.
So that's the reason that you are a staple in your community, that you've gotten my attention, because I've been seeing it all along online. And clearly you can order food from anywhere, but people are coming from out of their way. I did, gentleman from TNEC did, and you have a heart for your community. So all of those things together, I think it's wonderful. And I think there's absolutely no accident that we met and decided to do this. So can you give us your phone number and your location? And I will 100%, I'm Italian. I'm very, very picky about everything I eat. And the food was amazing. Their heart, their family speaks for themselves, but you will not be disappointed. So Tina, we're gonna wrap it up. Can you give us your phone number and your location, please?
Yes, we are Cafe Amici at 393 Davidson Mill Road in South Brunswick, and you can call us at 732-521-9511.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being on here. Thank you for feeding me yesterday, and I'll be back there next Tuesday. We have new photo shoots there next Tuesday. So it was a pleasure, and the baby was good. You guys still doing construction, but we did it. Thank you.